you so much for coming around today. So
Thank you for having
I
me.
want to get straight to the point. And the first thing I want to ask is, I think one of the most important thing and one of the most important things creative struggle with monetization. And a lot of people have this bright mind. A lot of the people have this bright idea. We have a lot of great content creators online, but few of them know the real techniques of getting money out of that gift, out of that talent. Most times people wait for probably brands to come around and collaborate with them. But I want to ask, what do you think is the proper way for a young creative that is so talented and probably so exposed and is already accepted to monetize that gift and that creativity? As an experienced creator, I think you can help us so much on that.
That's a great question. However, it's a very broad question. It makes me
Okay.
want to ask you, like, how much time do we have? Well, I mean, since this is a
Uh,
live video and not like a course, I'll just touch on the basics. And I would say the
okay.
first thing everyone needs to know is who is my audience, who am I reaching out to, right? And
Yeah.
what are their problems? And how can I present myself as a solution to those problems? So people get paid to the extent that they have solutions for problems. You're only as valuable as your understanding of the solution and your understanding of the problem that you're seeking to solve. The reason why we pay doctors, for example, is because they have a certain knowledge about our bodies that we don't have. Do you get? It's the same reason why you pay for an entertainment, a music show, because you can't entertain yourself. The reason why we pay for
That's very true.
comedy. It's the reason why you pay for someone to take care of your dog, or every single service that we part with money for is because we either cannot do it ourselves or we don't want to, right? So if somebody you might pay a cleaner, you can clean your house by yourself, but the
Of
time that you
course.
used to clean, you want to be able to invest it in other things. So you get a cleaner so that you don't have to think about cleaning and you can, focus your brain on other things. So as a creator, you need to begin thinking about yourself as a business. Every business exists to solve a problem. I mean, even if a business, even if someone starts a business as a passion, they always need to now think of how to position themselves as a solution. Because if anything you start as a passion, it's only you that is passionate about it. Other people are not passionate about it. They don't care. Do you get? So you need to
Yeah.
figure out a way to say, okay, I'm passionate about this. How can this passion I have align with problems people have that they are willing to pay for solution,
eh,
right? So this process, for some people, this might take a month. For some people, it might take 6 months. For some people, a year, a couple years. But you need to be asking yourself these questions. So when you understand the problems, you will now know how to offer solutions. So okay, should I do a class, or should I do a digital product? Should the digital product be an online course? Should it be a membership type thing? Should it be a WhatsApp class? Should it be should it be an ebook? Stuff like that. If you want to be an influencer, there's also needs, right? At that point now, you're now thinking of not just the needs of members of your audience, but you're thinking of the needs of other businesses. So businesses, they have a
yeah.
marketing budget. They have a bottom line. There's a certain amount of money they want to make every month, every year. Sometimes they don't know how to reach those customers. As an influencer, you have access to the hearts and minds of people that those companies want to reach. So those companies need access to your community. They need to pay you. So if you haven't understood that these guys have a problem that I can solve because of the access I have to these guys, you're not going to understand why your services are worth money. So every time people say things like know your worth, you need to know but we don't break it down. Do you get? Sorry, Nigeria always does this thing.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so you need to always break it down. I need to call to get the gen on, but let me finish answering this question. Yeah, so we need to always break it down so you know exactly why you're charging what you're charging. There's a need, there's a problem, you are the solution to that problem, because the people who have the problem cannot solve it themselves, or they don't want to, right? So if you don't have that, you don't have a business. If you don't have that, you cannot monetize, right? So whatever it is you do for passion, whatever it is you're passionate about, begin to think about it as a business. Begin to think about it as, I want this thing to be sustainable over a period of time. I want people who don't know me, people who have no emotional connection to me, to be able to part with their money. And for you to do that, like now I use the iPhone. I don't really care about the CEO of Apple. I don't care. I care about the product. Do you understand? So as a creator, you need to think like that. Like, how do I make sure that someone who doesn't know me at all, doesn't care about me, not my family, not my friend, is able to interact with what I produce, and it lead them to the point where they are willing to part with their money. Yeah.
The question I want to ask you is still about monetization. I really want you to share with us your personal experience about this monetization stuff. When did you become intentional about making money with your brand? When did you know it was time? And when did you become intentional about it?
There's a bit of time between when I found out that I could make money from this and when I became intentional, like small gap. But I think the thing that was a turning point for me, two actually. One was when the first time that I got an email from a brand saying, "How much will you charge for this?" Now, at the time, I didn't even know what I was doing was content creation. I was literally just having fun. I was just putting out videos, sharing my thoughts with the world. I didn't know anything about content strategy or nothing. But that was like a turning point that made me realize, whoa, wait, I can actually charge like money for this, and that was like the turning point for me. I knew that, wait, I have to take this seriously. If people from the outside are seeing me as, a candidate, or not candidate, but somebody who they would gladly invest their money in, I need to start thinking about myself that way, and then the second turning point was the sheer amount of people that were asking me to show them how I did what I did. Like, how do you make your videos? How do you do your this? How do you do it? Like, it was too many people, fam. Like, it was way too many people asking. And I used to answer people via DM and stuff, one by one. But at some point, it just got to a point where I couldn't keep up. It was just a little too much, and so I decided, okay, I'm going to do a class. But I did a free class. Now, you think I did a free class because I was very kind. No, it's because I was scared to charge. It's because I
You're
was
very
scared to
sure?
charge.
Okay, you're very sure people are going to pay?
That's one. I wasn't sure if people were going to pay. And then if they paid, I wasn't sure I could offer them value. Do you get? I didn't know that. I wasn't sure that I could teach them what I knew and they would be able to replicate the things I do and replicate my success. Do you get? Because when I started making videos, I wasn't. It was after I finished one 30-day challenge that I realized that, oh, that's a strategy for success or strategy for growth. I didn't know. I was just doing my thing, So it was like after all of that that I now realized, okay, this made me grow. But I didn't think, a part of me still felt like maybe it was fluke, maybe I was just lucky. I don't know if I can teach people this and enable them to like have the kind of results I had. So that was a fear I had. So I did a free class, and the response was amazing. Like, there's so many people that jumped in the free class. But what changed the game for me was after the free class, I saw the results people had. I saw people's content game changing, and it wasn't just people who did the kind. Me, I was making black and white videos. There were like two people who were travel content creators in the group. There was somebody else who was like a beauty and lifestyle. Like, there were different people who did different kinds of content, and I was able to teach them and answer questions specific to their niches and like offer value. That's where I just gathered mine. I'm like, okay, next one, I'll put in a price on it. So I put a price. I think it was like 5,000 naira. I did a class, and I wanted to have 50 people. Like, in my mind, I'm just like, I want 50 people max. in 24 hours, 50 people had signed up. This is something that I was posting about on my stories, not on my page, on my stories. Even till now, I don't sell classes on my main page, only my stories. And we still have hundreds of people join. But yeah, at the time, it was very shocking for me because I wanted 50. In 24 hours, 50 people had joined. And I'm like, it's closed, it's sold out, I'm not doing it again. And there were so many people in my DM saying, no, like we want to join the class. So I created a second group of another 50, and that 50 was filled up. Right? So I don't know if you are doing the math already, but like in between the period of like 48, just over 48, but less than 72 hours, I made 500K. Now, that was the most money that I had ever like, in my life. Up to that, that was the most, that was like, I was working in 9 to 5 at the time. That was a couple months of my salary, man. Like, that was almost 50% of my annual salary that I made in just a few days. So, of course, all those things just came together and, light bulb moments in my head. I'm like, I'm doing this thing on the side and I'm making 500K easy. What's it going to be like if I'm doing it full time,
Full
And I started to
time.
plot my exit, man. Like, I started to actually plot my exit from 9 to 5 from that moment, a few
That
months
moment,
later, I
that
left.
exact moment, or did
That
you give it
exact moment,
time?
like,
You didn't think
no, that
about it
exact.
that what if it doesn't work in the future again?
So I mean, I gave it time. I didn't immediately just go to my boss and be like, "Yo, I made 500K. Screw all of you. You're fired." I didn't do that. But I just sort of, I just started planning my exit. Started thinking, "Oh, how do I do this thing full time?" Because before then it was just a hobby. But I'm like, I started to now start thinking about it strategically. Like, how do I do this thing full time? How do I make sure that I'm getting at least a certain amount of money constantly every month? So when I figured out the answer to that, I left. Not like after I left, not like everything was now easy. I still had months of severe suffer. And that 500K, like I blew it. Like I
That's
tell you,
good.
I'm telling you that was the most money that I had ever received at the same time from anything. Because like I was never really a business type person. I never bought or sold anything. All I had was my 9 to 5. I didn't do any side hustle, nothing. So when that kind of money hit my account, I was like, let me just paint Abuja red. But I mean, I've learned, of course, and we've made several uncountable 500Ks more now. But yeah, that's a bit of my story.
What do you think helped you to be a content creator? Being a content creator and just starting, you started sharing your stories, you started doing something online, creating content that people saw as value. What inspired you or what motivated you into starting at first?
Oh, I don't know. I think I always was passionate about teaching and like sharing my knowledge, right? So I was always the guy who, um, like I had some friends that, would always like just talk about books we were reading or, sermons we were listening to, and we would just share knowledge. It was just a thing for me, right? I didn't know that it was ever going to translate to social media. What I thought I was going to be was I was going to be a motivational speaker. When I was a child, I wanted to be a pastor, like I wanted to be a preacher, because I grew up seeing my dad teach, and my dad is an amazing teacher. You get like till now, when I have like very difficult questions, he's the one I still go to ask some questions, and he's an incredible. If you think I'm good at answering my questions, you should meet my dad. Do you get? So this is stuff that I don't think I could have ever escaped the path of teaching. I just didn't know it was going to happen via social media. So like if you ask me which point did I realize, I don't know, man. I think I've been groomed for this my whole life. Yeah.
That's why you do it with ease.
I do not do it with ease. Oh.
It looks like that to us actually.
I mean, it takes a
The way
whole.
you do it. the way
Yeah,
you do
it
it,
takes a
Reg, I
whole.
just drop. I know of friends that do content creating, and I know how they struggle. Like Timmy, I'm Timmy actually. So they'll be like, Timmy, I want to drop something. I want to drop something, and they'll be like, oh, people have block. I don't know if you have. Is it do creators block or writers block? Does that happen to you where you
Yeah,
struggle to? You be like you're like nothing is coming, nothing fresh is coming. How do you scale through those moments where you feel like you need something more banger to dash your audience?
bruh. Like I don't. First of all, like I wanted to say, it takes a whole lot of effort to create anything that looks effortless. A lot.
Mm,
You
mm,
know, sometimes I watch a video and I can tell from the way the video is edited that this person really struggled to make this, right? And a lot of times, if I can tell that you really struggle to make it, it means you are not so good yet,
mm.
right? It means you are not so
Okay.
good. You still have a lot of work to do. The people who spend the most hours trying to make a video, when you watch it, it's so easy to watch and easy to understand. Jigga, like the reason why when you watch a video I made, it's so easy for you to understand it and you get so much in 60 seconds is because it took me hours to put all those thoughts together. Jigga, and present them in a way that when you listen to it, it makes sense to you in 60 seconds. I canceled a lot of things. I moved paragraphs around. I did. Jigga, like it took a whole lot to present a script in that way to you. So, I mean, think about movies, for example. You go to a cinema, you pay 3K, you watch a movie. In 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, the movie is done. Sometimes those movies took months to create, right? Sometimes years. But you just sat down and watched it in 2 hours and be like, I beg that movie now rubbish, Charlie. Do you get? So anything that looks effortless normally takes a whole lot of effort. Everybody who's trying to create a good product thinks about how, how can I stress myself while I'm making this product so that the person that's consuming the product does not have to stress themselves at all. So they're experiencing the
Mm.
product and it's so beautiful,
Wow.
it's seamless, it's
Wow.
amazing, it's
Wow.
soft.
Wow.
It's because
Wow.
somebody did not sleep in order
Wow.
to make that work, right? So every piece of content from now on, everybody who's listening, every piece of content you
Mm-hmm.
see out there that looks seamless, everybody who does
Mm-hmm.
transitions and does green screen stuff and it just
Mm.
looks amazing. I don't know if you see Frank Itom's videos. They're like so they're clean and everything. Or if you see Miss Techie's videos, those things are not effortless at all. They take a whole lot of effort. So now your question about creative block, um, I support what Seth Godin says about like he was talking about writer's block and he says he doesn't believe in writer's block, which is what Seth
Okay.
Godin says. And he says why. He says that plumbers don't have plumber's block. Like if you're a
Okay.
plumber and you just go and do the job. You're not like today I'm not inspired, so I don't do it.
Okay.
So a lot of time the problem is people whose job is related to art or creativity do not treat it like work. They treat it as this thing that has to come from a spark of inspiration. And I understand it. I
Mm.
understand it. But he says a lot
Wow.
of times when people say they have writer's block,
Please,
what they mean,
I want to interrupt. Hope you don't
yeah,
mind. I just want to
yeah, of
I
course.
want to just clap. Yeah, you are deeper than yeah, deeper than I imagined. When one of my friends heard about you coming, he was like, "Ha, how many hours are you giving Salem? That guy is deep. We must squeeze all of him out." Wow. Sorry for breaking you.
No, it's fine. Um. Anyway, so Seth Godin says when you say you have writer's block, what you're saying is I can't write anything amazing, but you can always write, right? It's just that what you write,
Mm.
you're not satisfied with, but you can always write. Like you can always write, no matter how you're feeling, no matter you can always write. You just feel like I can't write up to my standard. But what he advises is that in those times, still write. Do you get? Because You know you know the concept of like turning on a tap that hasn't been turned on for a while, and brown water comes out. What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do when you see the brown water coming out?
You hold on for the water to keep gushing out.
Boom, exactly. So the problem with creative people is when we open and brown water comes out, we're just like, oh, brown water, then we turn it off. But you need to let it flow. Do you understand? Like you need to let all the bad shit out, you know, in order for the good stuff to come. You know, so that's how we need to think about creativity. And another thing I also tell people,
Wow.
because people say like, oh, you know, I hear people like motivational speakers say, you know, you're not, it means you're not disciplined. You need to be disciplined. And I get it, but I also understand, like, I'm in creative, so I know sometimes I have a deadline, but I just cannot make my brain do anything. So I know the feeling. You get like I'm not even, you know, dragging anybody or anything. Like if my manager is here listening to this now, she's going to say I'm a hypocrite because there's times when she's like, Salem, we have this. I'm like, I cannot. I'm trying. Nothing is coming. I cannot do it. So she's here now. She's like, Salem, you are the one telling people this, you know. So the point I'm trying to make is me. I understand what it's like, you know. But here's one thing that really helps me. I always try to make the best of my, you know, I try to leverage my peak periods. So I know that I'm not always going to be inspired. That's just the truth of the matter. Right? So when I'm inspired, I don't only create one post. Do you get? Like in my notes app,
Okay.
there are like 30 or more video ideas that I have not touched. I've not, they're just there. Do you get? And it's not because I have the ideas, but because there are some days when I'm very inspired. I will write. As me and you are having this conversation now, if I have one amazing idea, I'm going to stop and write it down because I'm not going to get it back. Do you understand? So it's like a way
Yeah.
for me to look out for my future self. Every time I get an idea, I write it down. Every time I get an idea, I write it down. I also would advise people to build routines that help you to be creative. So for me
Wow.
now,
Yeah.
I start every day with a walk. Sometimes 5 out of 7 days, you get. But once I wake up from my bed, I wear my Crocs and I take a walk. I do it every day. So it helps my brain. It helps me see the world from a certain perspective. A lot of content ideas I just start writing in my notes app while I'm taking a walk. So for you, it might be tea. For you, it might be coffee. For you, it might be yoga. For you, it might be going to the gym. If there's something that makes you feel inspired, anchor that and do it all the time. Do you understand? Build routines that encourage. So me, I don't need to be creative the whole day, right? When I'm taking a walk in the morning, my head is very clear. I write down a lot. If my creativity is like bursting forth, I write down plenty ideas, right? So I'm back to the house at like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., I don't need to be creative the rest of the day, right? When it's time for me to make a video, I don't need to be creative. I already wrote the script. I already helped myself, right? So tomorrow comes, I don't have a content idea because I'm suffering creative drought. The idea I wrote last week to my rescue. You know, the idea I wrote 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago to my rescue. Sometimes I'll make a video, edit it, and it's just on my phone, it's just on my iPad, right? So once I'm looking, what do I post today? There's a video there because I leverage my peak period as much as I can. So don't lie
Wow.
to yourself. You get like me, I see people that create every day and like shout out to them, but I know peace. You get like I love creating, just not that much. I love creating, but I don't like work. So if there's a way to block out one day of my week and say, okay, today I'm going to work extra so that the rest of the days I'll just be chilling and I'll be posting. That's my ideal life, bro. And when I'm rich enough, I'll be paying somebody else to do some of it.
All right. Thank you so much. I want to ask about some of your. I don't know. I won't want to take a lot of your time. Probably in
No.
just 10 minutes, I'll just cut it off. Thank you so much. Two questions. The first will go that while you were working to get to that peak? Hello? Okay, you're trying to get something. While you're working to get to that peak, the point of you giving up, I don't know, there's a point where you get to the peak and it seems like this is you. I don't know if there was a time like that for you. Probably you got to the peak and you're like, you don't feel like you can move beyond that point. How did you move beyond that point where you felt you needed to change levels, probably upgrade? I'm not sure you understood my question.
I totally understand your question, and I feel like I'm
Okay.
almost always at that point.
Okay.
Because yeah, like it's my manager that I'm always disturbing. Like, yo, we need to, we're not charging enough. We need to be making, and stuff like that. I feel like I'm constantly at that point. Sometimes when you see me make a video where I'm saying, you need to learn to enjoy where you are while you're on the way to where you're going. It's myself I'm talking to. All of you be saying word in the comments. It's myself. I'm making the video for myself.
Hmm.
Like I'm actually just teaching myself, I'm publicly sharing what I'm learning
Hmm.
in that process. So I would advise anyone just the way that me I talk to myself. Time, man. The greatest gift you have is time. I always tell people that a lot of times the difference between you and someone who has gone like far ahead of you, a lot of the times is not talent. It's not talent, not connection, it's time. It's
Hmm.
time,
Please
you know?
elaborate that. I really want to suck that in.
There's so much that can only happen over time. Do you understand?
Hmm.
If you're in an accident where some part of your skin got burned, you cannot say because you don't like the way it looks, the doctor should find a way for you to heal it in 1 week. It's not possible.
Hmm.
Do you understand? But there's going to
Mhm.
be like if you like you need to let it run its course. You need to allow the
Hmm.
healing to run its course. So a lot of us we need to allow our life to run its course. And I don't mean you should just sit down idle and not do anything. But there's certain things that are just not happening right now because it's not time yet. Do you
Hmm.
understand? So sometimes the results some people have, they have it because that thing that you're doing, they've done it 500 times. You've done it only 50 times. Do you
Hmm.
understand? I was on a panel with Frank Donga. Do you know Frank Donga?
Yeah.
I was on a panel with Frank Donga and they were asking questions and stuff. And at some point, he was answering a question and he was like, when I started making videos 10, 12 years ago, I said, huh?
Yeah, I saw your video on that.
And see, I can never forget that thing. Like,
Hmm.
when I heard 10, 12, I'm like, eh?
Wow.
Do you get? So it now puts my own career in perspective. And I started to think, wait, when did I start this content creation? 2018. 2018 here. Do you get? Just ordinary 2018.
Hmm.
It's not even
Hmm.
4 years yet. And me, I'm already
Hmm.
crying that why am I not this? And this guy has
Hmm.
been doing it for 10 years. I need to learn something. So I realized that there's certain results he has that it's a matter of time. He's just been in the game
Hmm.
longer.
Hmm.
Do you understand? Some people are just more experienced, and we
Hmm.
all need to. When we don't know what to do, we need to learn that it's okay to do what you know. I'll say that
Hmm.
again. When you don't know what to do what you know, and continue to do it diligently. Keep doing it. In the place of you doing it, you will know what you need to do next. You will
Hmm.
meet the person you need to meet to go to the next level. Do you understand? Like you always you can't force it, you can't microwave it, you can't do anything. Do you understand? It's like you want to make somebody in the comments said no be beans.
So no be beans,
That's
yeah. It's,
that's funny to me because it's actually beans. Do you get? Like a lot of our lives and our creative journey is beans, but like we think it's Indomie. So we put it in the microwave and you want it to be ready in 10 minutes. But it's beans, guys. It's
it go take
beans.
before you cook.
It go take. And for some people,
Mm.
it's not beans porridge. For some people, it's moi moi, which means you have to peel the
To
beans, you have to
peel.
wash it, you have to take it
Mm.
to grinding engine. So everybody's journey is
And,
different. And so for some people, it's akara. Some people it's akara, like it's akara you're trying to make, but you're putting it inside water. And that's why it's spoiling.
Wow.
Do you get? So for everybody, like everybody's journey is different, but the thing that is common across board is that it will take time. Right. So like just surrender to the gift of time. Time is not your enemy. Time is your, you know how people say time is against us. I don't believe it. I don't agree. Time is not against you. Time is your friend. Time is with you. Do you understand? You were born in time. You know, when you were born, they marked the date and said September, what's the date? September 23rd. So
23.
and so
Thank
person was
God.
born. They marked the time. Do you understand? Because you were born in time. And then 1 year after the day when you were born, you celebrate it and say 1 year. Another one, you celebrate it 2 years. So why are you saying time is against you? Like, where did we get that from? Do you understand? So we all need to surrender to the gift of time, understand that, you know, certain things will take a while. Some things need to cook. Some things need to ripen. Some things that we cultivate, some things we plant, they need time to bloom. Do you get? The crops that bloom the fastest, corn, for example, if you plant corn, you can plant a seed of corn, you can have an ear of corn ready in 3 months, right? Do you know anything about agriculture?
I studied agricultural economics.
Ah, man. Economics is
Okay.
sadly
The
opposite.
agric is not there.
The agric is not there. But I mean, I grew up in the north, so we used to plant corn in our house. When you plant one seed, in a few months you have like an ear of corn, right? When you plant cocoa, but that corn, how much will you sell it? The one we used to plant in our house, we couldn't even sell it. Like in the house, we used to eat it. When you
Okay.
plant cocoa, it takes much, much longer. Do you get? The maturity cycle is much, much longer. But the value of cocoa, like you can actually export cocoa to another country. Do you understand? So, like some things are just more valuable. If you want a certain kind of result, it's okay. Like, don't fight it. Don't stress it. It's going to take time and it's fine. Yeah, that's what I would say.
I think your career as a speaker is very important. I see you more as on panels. I see, okay, I've seen your TEDx, but I think you should take more of speaking too. You are an awesome speaker. Probably you should review
Thank
your
you.
mission of becoming a pastor. You should.
That one don't
you
pass,
should
so I'm
you
not
should you
ready.
should revisit it. Thank you so much. Do you still have fears? Just the last question. Do you still have fears, and how do you deal with them? Do you still have
Yeah,
fears, and
yeah,
how
I
do you
have
deal with
fears.
them?
I'm
I don't
afraid
know if you
of,
want to mention any of them, and what you are
yeah,
doing.
I'm afraid of flying cockroaches. I don't plan to do anything about it.
And okay, do you still have
And
fears? Okay, do you want me to rephrase the
I
question
know,
or?
don't worry, I know. I'm just messing with you.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, flying cockroach. If you're not afraid of flying cockroaches, I'm afraid of you. Please live the life now. You can just click out. But yeah, I definitely have fears, you know. So I still have imposter syndrome sometimes, you know. I still fear sometimes that everything I
When I
achieve,
hear that
I
word from people like you, I'm always like, what is my hope? Like, what have
what
I achieved? The people that have achieved this kind of things in their life are still having this. What should I do then? I should
I
never,
mean,
probably I should not deal with myself when I have something like that.
it never really goes away. Imposter syndrome is a feeling that everything you've achieved just happened by pure luck, you know. Because every time I see people on social media that I feel like, "Ah, this person is working hard, this person deserves this thing more than me." Do you get? I see that all the time and I feel it, you know. So I have that fear. What other fear do I have? I fear that sometimes I'd have spent all this time and energy on this career and then it's something else I was supposed to be doing in my life. You know, so those are all fears. They just creep in, but they don't last very long. You know, because me, I'm always Like I'm always like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? You know, like nobody should panic. But like, if tomorrow I decide that I don't want to be a content creator anymore, it's honestly a decision I would make without any sentiment. I would gladly go into a new industry and start over.
Do
I
you
swear.
think how do you think that would be for you?
I don't know. I don't know. But like,
Because this is something you enjoy doing, right?
yeah, but like,
Obviously.
yeah, but I'm not one thing, you know. Kanye West, Kanye West in 2009 went to, do you know Kanye West?
Yes, everybody knows Kanye West.
No, you'd be surprised. Kanye West went to intern at Fendi. At the time when he went to intern at Fendi, he was, I don't know how old he was, but he was in his 30s. And at the time, he already had 11 Grammys. So he was a successful musician, was a successful rapper, one of the best rappers in the world, most respected producers too. And he was an intern at Fendi because he was interested in fashion.
Fashion.
He's a billionaire now, and it's not from music. Do you get? Rihanna was a pop star. She was worth $30 million, so she was good. She was fine. Like if you're worth $30 million, you can actually decide not to work again. You can actually retire for the rest of your life, and you'll be fine. You get? You can invest. You can increase your investment portfolio, and that will take care of you too forever and ever. But she stopped doing music and she went into business, went into beauty. She's now a billionaire, and it's not for music, right? So like we're surrounded by case studies of people who woke up and decided to do something else. You know, we're always talking about Peter Obi. Peter Obi was a businessman. He was a billionaire before he became governor of Anambra State. I mean, let's bring you home. Let's bring you home. I mean,
Yeah.
he was a businessman, and he still is a businessman, and now he wants to be president. If he becomes president, he would have changed careers multiple times, right? So I don't believe that we're supposed to just choose one thing. I don't think it makes sense that when you're like 19 years old, you decide what you want to do for the rest of your life. People like me, I went to university when I was 15. Like that's when I decided to study economics. Imagine being 15 years old and deciding what you will do for the rest of your life and never actually changing your mind. Haba. Do you get? So there's so much information about who I could be that I do not yet have. And I find that exciting. Do you get? I find it very exciting that my best days are not here yet. I feel like my life is so good right now, but there's stuff I don't know yet. There's experiences that I've not yet had. There's people I've not yet met. There's books I still haven't read. There's knowledge that I still have to access, and it's still out there. It's in the future. I am freaking excited every time I think about it, right? So one day I can just come and say, I don't do again, no.
Someone said your brain is too unique to be used for one thing.
Exactly.
Well, I wouldn't want to take any much of your time. I really enjoyed myself. I never knew it to be like this. I was really nervous when I was about to
So you
press
invited me and
live.
you did not know it was going to be like this. Wow.
I
Everybody in the comments, this guy did not rate me.
I was really nervous. I didn't know if I could handle it actually. Knowing
Great,
knowing who you are, knowing who will be watching, I was like, well, I've been able to do it. In fact, when you were at Abeokuta, I'm based in Abeokuta currently. And you were in Abeokuta Ogun Tech Summit. I don't know if you can remember. Yeah, I was like, wow, that's Salem. I could not even come closer. I was like, I'm not sure. And sending you a mail, and if you see the way I screamed the way I saw the response, like, yeah! Thank you so much. I really appreciate this privilege. I'm really honored, and I'm really privileged to have you on my platform. I don't know if you have any final notes you want to give us, people that want to be like you. And we end this session that way.
People that want to be like me,
Uh,
get to they want my problems too.
okay.
And
We
and
don't mind.
I think you do. I think you do. Um, I mean, so my job, I'm an influencer, right? So my job is to make things look good. I'm a storyteller, which means my job is to document experiences and present it in a way that makes people feel good, right?
Mm,
Now, because I'm building a personal brand, my life is at the center of the story I'm telling. So when I have
mm,
challenges, when I'm fighting with a brand via email, I don't make posts about that. You know, when I'm having financial issues or I don't make posts about that. So people don't know my problems. So I feel like nobody should really ever want to be like somebody else. I feel like your experience of life is custom made, right? It's special. It's for you. It may be difficult for anybody else to understand it. But you are you. There will never be another you. Do you understand? And your
mm,
reality is special. Your life is. I don't know if you have enough time to go into this, but like you actually are one of a kind. And when people say that, it's mostly like aspire to aspire, or at least that's how people say that. Oh yeah, one of a kind, whatever. Or this guy is lying to me. You like me? They are
mm,
saying I'm one of a kind. But like you literally are one of a kind. You know, there is a
mm,
certain combination of factors that no two people have the same combination of. Do you get? Your
mhm,
education, your exposure, your experiences, expertise, your interests, your passions, your background, all these things. No two people have the
mm,
exact same combination of all those factors. Even two people that grew up in the same house, do you understand? They don't have the same experience of the same thing. That's why two people can walk into a movie theater, watch a movie, and one person will say, "Wow, that's amazing." The other person is like, "That was 2 hours of my time. I never dreamt of seeing it."
mm,
It was the same movie, right? It's the same Big Brother everybody's watching, and some people are like, "No, it's of the devil, it's evil," and people are like, when people are putting their money inside.
mm,
Do you understand? It's the same one. So
mm,
it's all about perspective and knowing that you actually are unique. You don't have to do
mm,
special things for you to be unique.
mm,
You have to
mm,
exist as a
mm,
human being. And whatever it is you want to do, whether you're a storyteller, a content creator, a copywriter, an actor, an artist, whatever it is, you need to tap into that reality that there really is
mm,
nobody else like you. Do you understand?
mm,
And because there's nobody else like you have a unique perspective of the world that nobody else has, which makes you more interesting than you think you are,
mm.
right? And the reason why you don't think you're interesting is because you haven't tapped into that. Me, I still don't think I'm a very interesting person, right? Like if you meet me in person, I'm boring. Like I don't want to talk. I want to go home. I always want to go home. But like content gave me a way to express myself. Do you understand? And like
Mm,
finding out about content came from just trying so many different things. Maybe another Instagram live, but like I've tried many different things in my life. Do you understand? And before I stumbled upon content, and now that I've stumbled upon content is not going to be the last thing I try in my life.
mm, mm,
Do you understand? I'm still going to try other things because I'm unique. There's a certain perspective of the world I have because of who I am that nobody else
mm,
has. So when I do
mm,
content, that perspective brings itself onto the content to make my content special. If I do product design, that perspective I bring it onto product design to make it special. If I
mm,
go into movies and acting, if I go into music, whatever I decide to do, that unique perspective I have makes it onto my art, makes it onto whatever
mm.
gift I decide to give the world. You know, yeah, I've said too much.
Wow. Are you sure you don't want to revisit being a pastor? I really need to ask you that question. Are you sure you don't want to revisit
No,
that?
no, you need
You're not saying
anointing. You
you're not saying
you
that
need to be
vision.
anointed. No, you need to be anointed and
Yeah.
call. You cannot call yourself.
We have called you. Just like this, like the way they called someone Saul, that we have called you. Eh,
You
we will
remember how
come.
Saul ended? You remember how Saul's story ended
No,
too?
no, it's a new generation. Jesus has come. You end that way.
No, nah, fam. You're not going to keep
Thank
me on
you,
this
sir.
pedestal. I've come down.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much, and I want to appreciate everyone that joined too. Thank you so much. I'm privileged. Please do enjoy the
Amazing.
rest of your night.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming around. Bye bye. Thank you.